Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Thiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You can wait on us and watch us on television, syndicated, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. That's the Abundance Television. You can also find us on the podcast, and that's thenewscasters.com. All the social media sites, all that stuff going on. You can watch us anytime you want to that way. You can go to YouTube, Facebook, the whole gamut, X, MeWe, everything. You can't get away from us, Ann.
Wow.
But I'll tell you why the show is so popular. It's popular because I've got Ann with me, Ann Eubank, and Ann and I have been friends for a really long time. And people are sick and tired of just the main, just like talking. It's like everybody got the same memo, and they're all saying all the same garbage out there on the waves everywhere, whether it's radio, television, or podcast, or whatever. And we just do the truth. And I like people like you on my show. Thank you.
Yeah, I get in trouble all the time for not following the party line. Yeah.
I do too. And I'll tell you, I've kind of made a bunch of people mad now here in Alabama. Because when I've been asked if I was Democrat or Republican, I think a few of them have tricked me. And so I'll say, well, I'm not Democrat. Not really a hard-chosen Republican either. I'm a conservative.
I mean, we can't even call ourselves conservatives anymore, simply because the Republicans have started calling themselves conservatives, which we know that's not true.
Let's find another phrase. You and I can make it happen.
We are constitutionalist.
Oh, okay. I like that, man.
Yeah, that's what we're going to have to do. So, yeah. But, hey, we got to go where it's going to be heard, and even in Alabama, it's not conservative anymore. The people are conservative. Our legislature is not. They are all about the money.
Oh yeah, and I was going to tell you, I spoke with someone this weekend in South Carolina, and we were talking about a little bit about politics. As a matter of fact, the people who bought the house from, first things out of them, they wanted to know if we were Democrat or Republican, and I said,
"Oh my gosh,
we're conservatives." That's what I said to them, and the lady on it said, "Well, I wouldn't have sold it to you if you'd said you were a Democrat."
Ooh, yeah, we don't need any more Democrats in South Carolina.
Oh, get this! Her husband used to be the sheriff there, and he was Democrat. So they changed from Democrat. They don't want to be a Democrat anymore.
Well, now, old Democrats are not the same thing as new Democrats.
Well, some.
Yeah. It's kind of like old Republicans are not the same as new Republicans.
Yeah.
Because new Republicans are old Democrats. And they vote Democrat. Can you follow it?
Yeah, I follow it because I live it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's happening.
Yeah, well, that's kind of confusing for new people coming up. But I have to tell you, I keep hearing about the young, and there are some nuts out there. There's some snowflakes, but there are also some snowflake older people that I meet on a daily basis, and they're running our government right now. They're running the state of Alabama.
Oh yes, the oldest one we have our own Biden in the governor's office. And, here lately, how old ladies get crotchety and mean and hateful? Well, I think Governor Meemaw has hit the crotchety, mean, and hateful stage, because she's just mowing down people right and left. She kicked out Admiral Kent Davis off the VA board when he's doing a fantastic job. But because she got mad about something he did, and she didn't have the right to fire him, but she did, and then called it supreme governmental power. Those exact words, supreme governmental power. She has that. So just because she got mad at somebody, she fired them. So,
well, she makes me think of a female version, if you want to say that, a female version of Joe Biden. Yep. I'm sorry, but she has reminded me of that for years.
Yeah. I think she's getting worse. But, we have elections coming up, so we're just going to have to be mighty careful about who we vote for.
Okay, let's talk Alabama politics. The hot topic right now is the governor's race.
Yeah, a little bit. But, Will Ainsworth, there's a rumor now, and it's a rumor, that Meemaw's going to step down and allow Ainsworth to take over the governor before the election, which would give him a leg up as the incumbent. But there's a couple of people out there talking about running against Will Ainsworth, our lieutenant governor. But he's got megabucks personally. He's got all of the establishment behind him. He's got BCA. He's got, I mean, we can just go right down the line. He's going to be very, very hard to beat.
But so did Joe Biden and Kamala. Kathleen Kamala.
Yeah,
so they had all the money going too.
Who is Trump in Alabama? Do we have an Alabama Trump? I haven't found him yet. Maybe a her. I haven't found her yet either.
You.
No. Never gonna.
You'd make an awesome governor.
Never gonna happen again. Not running for office. They spent more money keeping me off the school board than ever before in a race.
And that made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever, because you knew more about the school board than the entire school board put together.
Exactly.
None of those people knew it. I mean, you got it. You've done it. I've seen you. Okay, you and I are buds. Okay, so I've seen you with manuals that thick looking at them. I'd be going, are you listening to me talk? I'm saying something. Well, you'd be busy with your nose in a manual, like that. I know you're a study. Yeah. So I just don't get that. I don't understand.
Well, I have one of my 4 manuals sitting right next to me on these new Innovate and Workforce programs that Governor Ivey got from the federal government. It's actually an Obama program that she's implementing all over the state of Alabama. So yeah, I still have my manuals. It's the only way that I can keep up with what I know, because there is so much, and I don't do surface. I dig deep. I can tell you money, times, places, the corruption in Alabama, in the Innovate program, in the school boards, in the school programs. It goes 2 miles deep, and it all comes from Obama and liberals in the federal government, starting way back when. In fact, I think it's kind of started with Bush, not Daddy Bush, but the young Bush.
Yeah, I think the young Bush had a lot to do with that.
I think actually his wife had a lot to do with it.
You're probably the only person on earth who actually has read Obamacare.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I knew
it took 5 readings of paper, but I had a copy of it. I sure did. I read the bills. So Saturday, I was lucky enough to speak at the Eagle Forum Legislative Days. They asked me to talk in the Innovate programs. Mm-hmm. And I got through, and my first slide on that program, I do PowerPoints, so everybody can see what I'm talking about, where it came from. Because I always have the little footer down there saying this information came from blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Well, my first slide is in 2012, Alabama was the first state to pass a law against implementing Agenda 21 program or anything that arose from an Agenda 20, UN Agenda 21, 2030, 2050. And I had a legislator come up to me afterwards and say, now, Ann, I don't think that's a bill. I think that was just a resolution. Well, contrary to his belief, I had my binder, my 4-inch binder, full of the bills for Innovate and where they came from. And the first bill that I had in that binder was Bill 447, which prohibits Agenda 21. And I took it out of my binder and handed it to him. And I said, well, I have a copy of it. So he looked at it and he flipped the pages. It's not but 4 pages long. And he said, well, I guess I'm wrong. And I guess we've been breaking the law since 2012. I said, I guess you have.
Really? He didn't know?
Nope.
How would you not know when you have that position?
Nope. Same thing with about 4 of the agenda of Innovate bills are against the law. They're against Alabama Constitution. But there's a word that they used in all of those bills, notwithstanding. And I don't know how many lawyers you got out there, but notwithstanding the fact that we have a law against this, we're going to do it anyway, is basically what they say in every single one of these bills.
It's kind of like me saying, I'm not going to eat chocolate, but notwithstanding, I am going to eat it.
Exactly.
Just going ahead and blame it. I really, okay. I can get along with someone much better who spits out whatever the truth is, whether I like it or not, because I don't have to guess. I don't have to go find a dictionary. I don't have to hire an attorney to decipher every single word they say. Well,
it just drives them crazy that I read the bills and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already we are up to 107 as of Friday night, pre-filed bills. Now, most of them are on justice bills, like, breaking the law. Some of them are on voting. Some of them are on hospitals and drugs and hospitals. A couple of parental rights bills. Oh, what is a woman will definitely pass this time. I'm not real sure why we had to have a bill.
What is a woman?
Yes. What is a woman?
We have to have that.
Yes. We have to define what a woman is.
So we have that many people who are that confused here?
Obviously, because that's coming back and it's going to pass. It didn't pass last year. And I was like, why do we have a bill? Much less, why didn't it pass? School choice is going to have a few things. What is a woman? Oh, the abstinence law, where in our schools now they're being taught all those nasty sex education programs from NEA and the LGBTQs. But there's going to be a law saying that we have to pass the sex education that is talks about abstinence, because they don't even know what that word means.
Okay, let me ask you a question. This is about the sex education stuff. Okay. What is the youngest class they want to teach this to?
Pre-K, 4-year-olds. 4-year-olds. And
why is that necessary?
Well, you got to start them young so you can pollute their minds and cause, we've talked about cognitive dissonance a whole bunch of times on your program, where what the kids are being taught in school is totally opposite to what they're being taught at home and what Alabama values are. But our school systems continue to allow it because they don't want to give up the federal money.
Well, they know most parents are not going to parent their kids. They know that. And all it takes is one.
Well, even if parents try to parent their children, they have no idea what they're being taught. And COVID did us a favor. Having our kids at home showed parents what their children were being taught. Mm-hmm. And so the parental rights activists of Moms for Liberty and, a couple of activist groups have finally saw what was going on and joined together to try to stop it. So they're trying to put the 10 Commandments back into schools. Well, we already have that law. I'm not real sure why they need to pass another one. Several years ago, they passed that law, but they must have left something else. And so now they're going to go back and put in a thing where you must. Maybe they had a may or a shall or whatever, but now it's going to be must.
It's election year. This is going to make Ainsworth or somebody look like that they're a religious person.
Absolutely.
They're not changing anything. It's still going to be thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. It's still
exactly. So, everybody keeps talking about, no, we're not going to do gambling. Well, that's a lie. They're going to do gambling. They're going to bring it in as a state lottery. And
it's for the children.
No, it's not. If you read the bill, the
Really?
children, no, it is not for education. It's for the general fund. It is not going, but everybody thinks because it's a lottery, it'll go to education. Well, that's a lie. But while it is being brought in, a plain lottery will never pass the legislature because the Indians and all of the gambling people, I don't know if you've been on Facebook lately, but like every 10 minutes, a gambling little blurb pops up in front of you. 75% of the people in Alabama want to vote on gambling. 75% of the people of Alabama cross the state lines.
Have they asked 75%?
I
How do
don't
you know
know.
it's 75%?
I'm sure they found 10 people, found 75 people in the casinos and asked them the question. So
that's a good way to get the answer your question that you want, right?
I am telling you, it's coming, and that bill will be amended. It won't be just a plain lottery. Plus the fact it's a regressive tax. The people least capable of losing money on a lottery are going to be the ones that support the lottery. Now, gambling is not my issue. It's not something other than the economic impact of it. Because every state around us has gambling, it's a market saturation. I mean, every state, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, you keep going as far as you can go. They have gambling. Well, Alabama doesn't have gambling, and we're getting in the game as the last state. So when you enter a market saturated sector, you lose. You're not going to be making money. You're going to be losing money. The state of Alabama can't afford to lose money. So I read an article the other day that 43% of the money that funds our government comes from the federal government through grants and money given for programs. 43% comes from the federal government. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do? And they get to tell us what we can and can't do because we are so indebted to the federal government money.
Well, when your house, you own your house, you really don't own it. But anyway, no. You own your house.
Yeah.
And just a few feet at the road coming towards your house, the government owns that.
Yeah.
And I've often just thought about this, what that really means. What that can mean with your little 15-minute cities is you're not going to be able to get out of your yard unless you do what we tell you to do.
Exactly. And we down here in Birmingham, what used to be South Side, UAB and Southern Research over there on South Side, where 5 Points South is, and UAB and all the nice little houses that are being redone. It is now a 15-minute city. It's called Southtown. They have renamed South Side to Southtown, and it's become an R&D innovative district. Southern Research the other day came out with our own Lieutenant Governor Ainsworth standing there so proud. They're now doing gene sequencing with volunteer DNA from students in order to find diseases that student doesn't realize they have, and then put them in projects to where they can see if they can find a cure for the disease that he has. And that gene sequencing is going to be run through the AI computer.
We're going to trust AI. Okay, so Kamala Harris is out, supposed to have all these great, big, huge crowds, and they use AI. And if you'll just really look into the crowd, you'll see the same people, the same faces.
Exactly.
One's got a scarf, one's got a hat, one's got 2 heads, one's got 5 arms. I mean, you really trust AI? I don't. I'm sorry. I
was listening to President Trump right before I came on here talking about, what that he's doing and what going to be done. And but the other day when he had Sam Altman, Larry Ellison, and Bill Gates all up there talking about building these AI data centers, 8 of them across the country, I was like, what are you thinking? Those are the 3 most evil men in the world. And you're giving them federal dollars to build AI data centers.
So what's in an AI data center? What's that all about?
That's where all the data that is collected with AI off of your computer. I read an article today where every new computer coming out of Microsoft or Apple the newest ones will have a new AI program that will know everything you've put in your computer, what you're thinking, because it can do randomizing. And all of that data will be stored in these data centers across the nation.
I'm going to say too late on that.
Well, that's kind of what I said. But the whole problem is, are they going to ramp it up like China, where you can't walk down the street without the government knowing? But they're also working on quantum AI, which quantum AI is AI times 10,000. And I've had some of my Christian friends tell me that they think this is the Antichrist that they're talking about, the mark of the beast, the one that knows all, sees all, hears and does all. So we're nowhere near quantum AI, but
yeah, but who's running it? Who's running it? It can't be the machine itself. Who is the mastermind behind it?
Well, did you see the movie, what's it, 2000, where the computer actually became quasi-human and took over and made the decisions?
I've seen several movies like that.
Yeah. So, it's
well, since people don't have walking around common sense anymore, they can't walk and chew gum at the same time. I can see it happening.
Yeah. So I love what Trump's doing. I love the whole thing about the Panama Canal. What people don't realize is in that treaty that stupid Carter signed, it says that foreign troops will never be allowed to be housed on the Panama Canal. China is housing troops on the Panama Canal. And that's why Trump can do and say what he's doing, is because Panama has violated the treaty. If Panama violates the treaty, it comes back to us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he's able to do what he's doing. A while ago, he said, yeah, we're still worrying about making Canada the 51st state because they're just not playing the game. It's all a game to him. We all know Canada can't become the 51st state. But to him, that's a bargaining position, and we go from there. So when is Canada going to learn to play the game? Not as long as Trudeau's there. So, I just think it's funny that he does those things.
Well, that's what you do in business deals.
That's right. You got to make the deal. He was talking about the EU and the automobiles, about how we can't send our cars over there, but we got Mercedes and VWs and whatever other cars come from the EU that are over here, but we can't. Have you ever seen a Chevrolet or a Ford over there? No, they don't allow it. That's not fair, he said.
Well, it's not.
Nope. So I just love it. I mean, I was listening to him just laughing. I'm like, go for it, bud. Go.
Okay. Now, we have a friend. His name is Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey. They're with Alabama Fair Tax. And we all know about that. And I like it. I think it's a grand idea. It's a good way to get rid of the IRS. But there's some of the things that Trump's putting together that makes you think he might be going something like fair tax or flat tax.
I think it's going to, he's talking about no income tax. So that would have to be a VAT or a fair tax, a VAT tax. Value, yeah.
And no tax on tips. I think he's going to start working on that today, wasn't he?
Yep. And so, He's got to go through Congress to do that, though. He can't executive order, so he's got some heavy lifting to get that done. We'll see what he does. I just think it's great. I think hopefully he's able to stay there long enough to get some of these things into legislation, because the executive orders won't stand the test of another Democrat president.
Well, let me ask you a question. I'm not doom and gloom, but I'm realistic. I know things happen. Whether you can live in your little, tiger lily fields and whatever, and think everything's going to be all rosy, and it won't be. So there's always going to be something happen, and heaven forbid this happens. But what if something happens to Trump? When somebody takes him out, what do you think, JD? How the same would JD be as Trump is?
Well,
it'd be totally different.
JD is probably as smart or smarter than Trump. And JD is much as mean or meaner than Trump.
He was raised like I was.
Exactly. He don't play games. Does he have the business sense that Trump has? And no. But will he continue with those types of programs? Absolutely. He may go about it in a different way. He will do more with the legislature and Congress. He may send a bunch of stuff down to the states, which is where it should be to begin with, because if you hear him talk about it, that's kind of where he is. He's a states' rights person. There's only one Trump. And nobody will ever be able to replace and do what Trump does.
Elvis the music.
Right.
People have tried, and they can't do it. I mean, you can't be another Elvis.
No, you can't be an Elvis.
There can't be another Trump.
But I like JD. I've met him several times, and he's just one of us, but he's a whole lot smarter. That guy is very, very smart.
Yeah, but there's something about street smart.
Yeah.
That guy's street smart.
Oh, yeah. He hands it right back to you. I love to watch him give a.
And you don't even know he's doing it. During the debate, I thought it was classic. The way he handled Tampon, what's his face?
Yeah.
So the way he handled him, he slapped him all over the place and smiled. And the guy didn't even know he was doing it to him.
Exactly. So I have no fear with JD. And there's some others that that are coming in the pipe that. I was very surprised at Marco Rubio, that he became as tough as Secretary of State that I've heard he is. Very surprised at that, because he's not one of my favorite people. But he stepped up. He went to Panama, and of course, the fact that he can speak their language is a good thing. Helps. But he didn't back down, and he didn't play games. He was like. He did a very good job, and that surprised me. And I'm waiting on Pete Hegseth. He came right out the night the helicopter ran into, and oh my gosh, when that happened, how many times have I flown that exact route? Coming in over the river, over that low bridge, and you're tilted sideways because you have to take that sharp turn. When I saw that a helicopter had hit that plane, I thought, oh my gosh, I know exactly where that happened. Because every time you fly in on an American plane, and they're the cheapest to go to D.C., let me
ask you a question. And I'm going to say this, I'm going to throw it out there. This is exactly how I feel about it. Okay, how is that allowed to happen? How was that allowed to happen?
I don't know. I read an article this morning. I've spent hours, every morning going through everything that I can find on all the subjects coming out of the state and the Capitol in Washington. There was a fourth person on there, and it was a female. Have you read that article?
No, I haven't.
Okay. A female. And they're not sure if she was piloting or not, but they were doing a test. And whoever was piloting that helicopter was 100 feet outside of where they were supposed to be. and they did not answer the tower when the tower talked to them. I'll send you the article when I get off so that you can have it. But there was a female who was doing training of some sort, and the article said that possibly she was piloting and didn't respond properly.
And we have to go into a commercial break. We went just a little bit past it, but that's okay. And we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain-fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching us every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m., and that's Eastern Time Zone. But you can watch anytime you want to on YouTube and Facebook and X and all those different places as well. Don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. Ann is on that. I want to. People love you on that. Newscasters. It's a podcast. You need to have your own show. I've been telling you this for years.
I just don't have time. I mean, yeah, I like being on your show, and I like,
Well, I love having you on it too. You know that.
But there's no way that I have the time to do. You should see my February schedule. I'm out of town 9 days out of 28 days in February. Out of town. I'm not even here.
Ooh.
So, yeah. I'll be in Douglasville, Georgia, and I'll be in Montgomery for 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be fun. And,
Okay. I got some questions about Montgomery. Okay. Let me ask you this question. Okay. Who is a person who may be thinking about running for governor or maybe got the name in the hat already that Mama Ivy doesn't like? Because that's going to be the person I would vote for, probably.
Okay. I'm going to tell you some rumors I've heard. I don't know anything. I've heard that Kent Davis, Admiral Kent Davis, that she fired, was thinking about running. I have heard that Dr. Tankersley, Stuart Tankersley from Concerned Doctors, is thinking about running. But that is a rumor. I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. I have heard that I used to think Greg Reed was going to run, but since the governor made him the new secretary of the Department of Workforce, which is about as socialist as you can get. That's Obama's national workforce bill. That's what we need, a national workforce, like socialist countries have. But since he's been put in that position, I'm not sure whether he will go there or not. I've heard Wes Allen is running for lieutenant governor. I've heard that Andrew Sorrell is running for Secretary of State. And that's all I've heard. But I'll probably find out more the 5 days I'm in Montgomery. So I'll have to come on after.
You got to come back on the show right after that. I'll leave a spot for you for that.
Yeah.
We got to have a special segment.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of the hair should be falling from the head after that date.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot to beat Ainsworth, unfortunately, because he's got one foot on each side of the line, and we can't, I guess the word is trust him to do what we, the people, want.
Our attorney in South Carolina is friends with him. They went to law school together.
Yeah.
And the whole works. And is going to a wedding this weekend in Huntsville.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all I can say is that he talks a good game, but you need to look at what he really does. And
Where's he from?
He's from Gunnersville.
I thought so, yeah.
Marshall County. He's one of me. That's where I'm from. I'm from Boaz, Albertville. And actually, he went to Albertville High School. No, Boaz High School, and I was born in Boaz.
Isn't he in land development?
Yes. His dad made big bucks in land and cattle, and now he's doing it. So he also has big bucks.
Yeah, well, we've had a lot of illegals here. Overrun.
Now,
needing places to live.
Yes, President Trump. I don't know that the illegals could afford one of his houses, though. I've seen some of them he's built. They're pretty pricey.
Yeah, but isn't the government funding people who own land and houses to house these people? This is what I'm seeing in my area. You're going to have to come down 75. This is another reason we're moving.
Okay, that was because of the housing tax credit for employers and developers to build employee housing for all the people up there. But I don't think Ainsworth is one of those because he builds high-end houses. A bunch of more, but President Trump signed an executive order stopping the programs, bringing them in, and they will be in line to be deported. They are no longer getting special privileges, and so they'll be leaving soon. Not sure how long, but they'll be leaving soon. They're no longer allowed here.
There was a person who was interested in buying the farm.
Uh-huh.
And he wanted to know if you could he said, Phil could probably help me if he's listening, mobile home or manufactured homes on it. Was there, I said, it's not, I told Phyllis to tell him it's not for sale. I don't want to see that happening here. It's already happening going up 75. You see these little mobile homes, these little campers, they're all over the place. I can see that if you're at Guntersville State Park Lodge because of the water and stuff like that, but there's no water here, for goodness sakes. There's no reason you'd want to live in a camper.
Yeah, that's for the chicken plants and for whatever other plants y'all have up there. And they're called pods in the law. It's called an employee pod. But with these people being sent back when the Biden, the ones that the Biden administration brought in legally, like the Haitians and the Cubans, and they're going to be sent back. They're no longer, it has not been extended. And so the government's going to have to, I don't know how long it's going to take them considering everything else that they're doing, but they're no longer going to be able to stay here as a legal entity once they're told to show up and be deported. So I'm not sure.
You thought about this. Okay, think about all of the money that was spent to bring them here. Right. Then it's going to take about that amount of money to get them out of here.
That's exactly right.
What did we have spent all that money on? That could have helped California fires. That could have helped the people in North Carolina that had that little manufactured hurricane come through.
Well, as much as I am suspicious of Elon Musk, I'm really thrilled about Doge because they found how many millions of dollars going to Hamas for condoms to be used as bombs. What was it? 60?
Who dreams this stuff up?
Obviously the State Department, because that's where it came from. He's already found like $2 trillion. If we can just get it back. But now one of the Democrats or somebody in Congress filed so that they couldn't take the money back. But it's the executive power can stop or redirect any monies that Congress has appropriated. It's in the executive power that he can do that. So they're just delaying the inevitable.
I'm going to tell you what, and I thought of you. So when, so Trump comes in, that's the day of. Well, he wants to work that day too. You know how he is. It's like you and me. So there he is. I'm signing some orders and all this. And so he started throwing ink pens out to people.
I saw.
So when we had our house signing, which was Friday, we bought the house in South Carolina. You had your ink pens, and it's like I thought. I knew what my name was by the end of that segment, by the way, because I wrote my name so many times. But anyway, I started throwing pens at the people. They were at the round table.
How many pages do they need on selling a house? I don't understand. You sign a piece of paper. Yeah, I bought this house. Yeah, I sold this house. And here's, I have this mortgage and I promised to pay it back. Why do they need 50 or 60 pages with your signature on it? And you know why? The federal government.
Well, we paid cash for it. So there was nothing that you had to like, you know what I mean?
So you still wonder what the heck is all this paper going? What is it for?
I know what my name is now.
That is unbelievable.
But the problem is I had to sign it so many times. My signature is never exactly the same. It's always off. So I said, well, it looks like a fake person. You're watching me sign this, but it looks like a fake person is making all these signatures. But anyway, they stamped it approval.
A friend of mine is thinking about buying a place at the beach. And, my daughter's in mortgage. And so my friend called my daughter and said, okay, what do I need? So she said, I'm going to give Mother the list to give to you. She gave me a list of about 15. I said, good gracious, why do you need all of this? She said, we have to fill out all these forms. You got to have all this information to fill out all these forms. I'm like, goodness.
What's happening to housing right now? What's happening to the price of housing?
The price is staying steady. It's not going anywhere. The interest rates are not going anywhere because the Federal Reserve is going to, I'm not giving Trump an inch.
Mm-hmm.
So they really expected the feds to have dropped it a quarter last week, and they didn't. And they're not meeting again until the middle of the summer. So they're doing everything they can to make Trump look bad.
Yeah.
But right now they're sitting right at 7, and it's pretty bad. There's a lot on the market, but people are just not moving because it's just, unless like you have cash to go buy something and not have to go through that whole process. It's just not worth it. They're not refinancing because, good Lord, what were they, 2 and 3 for 10 years? That because the Fed kept the interest rates, the federal rate, at 0 artificially the entire time Obama was in office. So yeah, it's going to be at least probably mid-summer, late summer before any of that starts moving.
I want to make a prediction. This is about housing. I think we're okay, and I think you're okay. I think my son's okay. I think your kids are okay. I think that age is okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the kids who are in, say, school now, and they get out. Are they going to be homeowners, or are they going to be renting the rest of their life?
They're going to, what Innovate is trying to do is multifamily, like Japan, where everybody is stacked up in those big high rises, and you actually buy those, like a condo thing. That's what
I'd go
private property is under attack, and it's going to be difficult. We have a half acre here with a huge backyard that Max thinks, is his domain. Those and farms and big yards, those kinds of things for young people are not going to be available.
That's what I think too.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless, unless something happens, because, with the signs that we're getting lately, we may be getting towards the end, but, we win in the end and it gets better, but we got to go through a whole lot of pain before then. And I think if people think that Trump being in office immediately is going to fix what's going on, I think we're going to see some pain before he gets it back in line, because they really messed it up.
Oh yeah, but also knowing him the way I think I know him, I think it would be record time compared to anybody else.
Oh, absolutely. But it's still not going to be easy. And he's going to have a fight on his hands. And the sooner McConnell gets out of the Senate, the easier it'll be. Because McConnell, Murkowski, and Collins, Murkowski stole the election in Alaska. She was not elected. And they went to the ranked voting to put her back in office. And Collins, of course, I hadn't figured out how she's a Republican anyway. But McConnell from Kentucky, he is owned lock, stock, and barrel by the Chinese, and he's going to do everything he can.
Oh, well, his wife,
Yeah. She's the daughter of a CCP officer. I mean, he's high up too. It's not low. So, and those three.
So why do people never question this stuff? I mean, I'm not racist at all, but
one of my 3 favorite words: follow the money. It's all about the money. It's just like I asked somebody this morning. I had a phone call this morning about a recording that I'm going to hear Wednesday. That is they're asking me, is this a felony? And I can't hear it over the phone. I have to go hear it in person. It's downright bribery, collusion. You're like, I don't understand. And so I asked this person, are you afraid that they know you have this? And they said, yeah, if I end up being gone, that's what happened. They've been there, done that. But it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's greed. People are not on. We, the people, have put people in office who are not there for our benefit. They're there for their own benefit. And we know who they are. You know who they are. But can we get them out? Follow the money.
Because once that chain is going, I mean, you can't. It's hard to break it. It's hard to break it. That's a locomotive.
Make doggone sure that somebody who would have the ability or the guts to take them on won't be ever in a position where they can change the game.
Well, I've heard some religious organizations saying, "Give me your child. Let's start out at the preschool." No, here's what they do. They'll say, "Let me start your kid out in kindergarten, and we'll have them in the fold of our hands for life." But you know why? Because parents don't pay attention to what their kids are being taught. Everybody in the whole family, everybody in school, everybody laughed when I got mad because Brad said he needed a calculator in math. But see, I like to do things in my head. I'd rather not be spoiled with the calculator. And so I'm all upset because when I went to school in the 70s, you could get expelled from school for bringing in a calculator. They had those old Texas Instruments, from Radio Shack. And I wanted one just, because I like techie stuff. But I never got one. Dad said, "No, you do it in your head. You're not going to do it."
They were expensive back then.
Oh, my God. Well, I was going to use my money because I had my own little business. I made love beads back then and sold them at school and wherever. So I was going to buy my own. And he said, "No. Thinking that. That's what you need. Thinking that."
We don't have that anymore. We just don't have people that can. Common sense has left the building, and hopefully Trump can bring it back. Although I have not heard him say a word about getting rid of the Department of Education again. And I know he's got his hands full. I know he's doing a lot, and I'm going to give him to the end of the year, and then he's going to start hearing from me.
But that's key.
Because he promised.
That's key. I'm just telling you.
To get rid of the Department of Education.
Oh, my God. You know something? Homeschooling is so popular now, but let me tell you this. I'm not the brightest bulb, but I'm just going to tell you, when you get me in a room full of kids, I'll pick out the ones that are homeschooled. They're the smartest. They're the brightest. They have common horse sense. These kids.
They have manners. They have manners. They know how to speak. No way. I mean, it's just crazy.
I was at a legal forum meeting, and so I saw two teenage girls there, and we were on a break, and I just walked up to them, and I said, are you girls homeschooled? And they said they were. And I said, "I just knew you were." And one of the girls said, "How did you know we were?" And I said, "Because you're very bright, you're very smart, and you know how to speak."
Yep. You can really tell the difference. When I went back to school, I was in a class with 18 and 19-year-olds, which was really funny. They made me take American history again because I clept it the first time. I didn't have to take it when I went to college, but when you go back to finish, there are things that are required. So I had to take it, which was, I could have taught the class. And the homeschool kids who were in there came to class with their work done. They were dressed. They sat up in class. They paid attention. They knew the answers. The kids out of public schools came in their pajamas and house shoes. They slouched down in their seats like they could have cared less, or they slept through class. They didn't have a clue what they were even talking about. And I'm like, why are we doing this to our children?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they not know American history, or why they don't even care?
Because everybody got a trophy. Why should you have to?
Well, that's true. So, yeah, but they all disliked me because and they were teaching from the Robert Zen communist book, and I'm like, who?
American history from the Robert Zen communist book.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I went to Judy, what's her name? Oh, it starts with an L. She was president of that school that time. And I said, who chose this book? Well, our textbook committee. I'm like,
get a new committee.
What are you thinking? It was awful. And I used to say, excuse me, that didn't happen. Because I was there. When I was there in 1964 during the civil rights marches. And let me tell you what happened. And it wasn't what they said in this book.
Well, I'm just telling. I'm going to give you another one. We're living in Charlotte. Sarah Palin was coming in, and so they had a meeting out on the lawn at the courthouse, and I was part of that little party over there they had. So I was there. Phil called, won't know what's going on, and I said, nothing. Why? The liberal news media, I don't know where they were getting the footage from, but that people were actually being dragged off. And he said, I know how you are. You're stubborn. They'll have to drag you off. So you need to just leave. And I said, there's nothing going on. And so I just take pictures and let him see pictures. We were just out there just talking. I mean, it was a very civil. I mean, it wasn't like a liberal hack meeting. It was outside at the courthouse in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm just telling you, things just.
Oh, yeah. Well, just like January 6th,
You were there.
I was there. I know exactly what happened. I was there. To watch it on TV, I'm like, no, that's not. They were inviting people in the door. What are you showing? Mm-hmm. So, a lot of it was set up. But yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. But he has to get rid of the Department of Education. Has to. There's no option. If we want to save this country, we have to quit teaching our children communist, Marxist, fascist programs.
Well, I would think he's working on that right now. But I mean, one of his big platforms. So I mean, what do you think he's putting in place, and who would be running that?
I don't know what because he said it like one of the last days of his campaign, mm-hmm. that he would do that. He said he would block grant back to the states, which was what should be done anyway. The federal government should not be controlling what the states are teaching. And that was his comment. So then when he gets rid of that, we have to get rid of the liberals, communists, fascists, and Marxists that are in our state school boards and state school department, to take out SEL and all these stupid textbooks that are teaching our kids that America is a bad place. And that's what they're doing now. Their textbooks and their programs are all just anti-American, and that has to go. Well,
there have been some demonstrations in Albertville, Alabama. I'm sure you've heard about them.
I saw those. Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's really interesting there, where we're feeding you and we're taking you in, and we're working, paying taxes so that you can go out and hold your signs from whatever country you're from. Well, then why are you here?
My question was, why were they not arrested? Because I guarantee you more than half of them were here illegally.
Well, we opened the door and there they came in.
Yeah.
Or not we. They opened the door.
Why were they not arrested?
They should have been.
Even Ainsworth came on and said, we can't have this, especially since that program has been terminated and they're out. They have no rights in the United States
All right, that was the timer it went off. We're going to have to call it a day, but I got to ask you another question.
Okay.
This is about Ainsworth. Okay, if he were not thinking about putting his name in the cap for governor, would he have come out and said that?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so either. And thank you so much for being on the show, because when I saw that, I was like, you wouldn't be saying that if the election wasn't coming up. But anyway, I think everybody knows what I think about that. Okay.
So we didn't get to talk about our plants and we'll do that next time.
Hang around, because I want you to come back. Okay. I mean, like in the next week or so.
Okay.
All right. So hang around and so we can get that done. Thank you guys so much for watching. You are the apple of my eye, and you're the reason we do this. Keep sending emails. Donna@donnasedge.com. Donna@donnasedge.com. Thanks.